Conditioning existence. How do we create our own environment of stress, and how does it affect our loved ones? Conditioning of our existence goes beyond objects. We don't realize that we build homes for our habits and objects, not for ourselves. Albert Einstein wrote that, time and space are not conditions in which we live, but modes by which we think. Physical concepts are free creations of the human mind and are not, however it may seem, determined by the external world. In a world that seems to revolve around material possessions and the appearance of comfort, we are often trapped in the belief that our existence is defined by the objects we own. In this endless quest for comfort and security, we self-condition and often create a stressful environment that negatively impacts our loved ones. Time and space, constructs of the human mind. Albert Einstein left us with a profound message: time and space are not just physical dimensions, but modes of thinking, structures created by the human mind to navigate through life. Immanuel Kant, another influential thinker, argued that time and space are forms of our intuition, not objective properties of the external world. This vision suggests that the way we perceive and organize time and space is deeply influenced by our mental structures. This subjective perspective is also reflected in how we organize our living spaces, just as physical concepts like mass, force, and energy are constructed by our minds to understand the natural world. We organize our living space and life to reflect our needs and preferences. Studies show that people who invest in arranging their living space without considering their emotional and psychological needs may experience dissatisfaction and stress. Source: Psychology Today. Self-conditioning and the self-imposed stress environment. Each of us is influenced, often without realizing it, by transgenerational trauma and the fear of inadequacy. Our collective history, from historical conflicts and forced migrations to periods of economic austerity, has contributed to the development of an exaggerated sense of ownership and accumulation. This obsession with possessions is not just a necessity, it becomes a form of self-protection and validation. A study conducted by the University of Chicago suggests that excessive accumulation of objects can lead to feelings of anxiety and difficulties in managing stress. Source: Journal of Environmental Psychology. These effects are not limited to the individual but extend to those around us. We build houses, carefully furnish them, but often forget to ask ourselves whether these choices truly contribute to the quality of life, to our happiness and that of our loved ones. Homes for objects, or for ourselves. We often don't realize that in the pursuit of comfort and aesthetics, we end up building homes not for ourselves but for our habits and objects. We invest time, effort, and resources to create a space that accommodates objects and reflects our lifestyle, but we neglect our fundamental needs and those of our loved ones. This phenomenon can lead to a dissonance between what we think makes us happy and the reality of our experience. We focus on objects and external standards, often without asking ourselves if these choices truly contribute to our emotional and mental well-being. Instead of asking if our space reflects our personality and provides the necessary comfort, we are guided by trends, social norms, and external expectations. This obsession with material details can create a stressful environment for ourselves and our loved ones. We strive to maintain a certain standard, which can be difficult to meet and can lead to conflicts and dissatisfaction. Thus, not only do we move away from our essence, but we also create an environment where others feel constrained and unsatisfied. The impact on interpersonal relationships. A clear example is the impact on children. When a child is scolded for dirtying an expensive sofa or making a mess in a perfect space, the message they receive is not just about cleanliness, but about the conditioning of love and acceptance. Psychologists have identified that such experiences can lead to self-esteem issues and long-term emotional difficulties. Source: Child Development Research. To build an environment that truly brings peace and joy, we must turn inward and ask ourselves: what does comfort mean to me? What are the real needs of my family? Honest answers to these questions can help us build a space that not only meets our material needs but also our emotional and psychological ones. Transgenerational legacy and the impact on the future. What we build today is not just for us but for the generations to come. In 100 years, our homes will no longer exist, but the legacy we leave will endure. It is essential to realize that our choices regarding comfort and possessions are not just about us but also about how we influence the future. Our transgenerational legacy includes not only material objects but also the values and emotions we pass on. It is time to evaluate how we relate to objects and life in general. Instead of defining ourselves by what we own, let's focus on who we truly are and the relationships we build.